Hi everybody, it's Debbie here and welcome back to My Crafty Den. I am doing a little bit of a DIY today. And I want to make a tray, or not a tray, but a crate, a wooden box that I can fill up with some, items to put on my coffee bar. So I've got these wooden plant labels. I love these wooden plant labels. These are the ones for $1.25 from Dollarama. I'll show you the label. If they still have them in the stores, grab them. I'm going through them way faster than I ever thought that I would. To me, it's just like having a stack of lumber at my fingertips. So I've got that, and then somebody gifted me 2 of these napkins. I can't remember who it was, but if you're watching this, thank you so much. I went through the Dollar Tree and the Dollarama every time I went to the city and never once found any of the lemon items. So I'm going to make myself a basket or a bin or a crate or whatever we're going to call it. I guess I'll call it a crate. So I've got these out. Let me see. Do I have any pieces? No, I don't. So there is a good side and a bad side to these. I don't think you can see it on the camera, but they are stamped out of a piece of wood. You can tell. And there's a sharp edge side and then a little bit of a rounder side. So I'm going to put these pieces together the way that they look the best, and I think it's like that. So I want my crate to be as long as it can be. So I'm going to just cut off a little bit of the ends of this, and this is how long I'm going to make it. So I'm going to need 4. I want it to be a nice, good-sized crate. I'll be using this over and over for different items. So yeah, it's going to be a good-sized crate. So what I'm going to do is line these up just like that so that there's a nice straight edge on that side, and then I'm going to come down this side right here, and I'm just going to draw myself a little pencil line, something that I can just follow along so that I don't take any more of this off than I have to. So you can take your ordinary scissors. I'm using my big kitchen. There, just like that. So I've got, let's just check. I've got 4 pieces that are exactly the same length. I'm going to do that again, but first I'm going to make one side of this. So upside down with these. Just like that, so that the back sides are together. And then I am going to, putting this on frame, I am going to line up one end. I am going to put hot glue on here, but I'm also going to, I don't have my E6000 out. I don't think it's necessary, but I do have a little bit of my clear Gorilla Glue. So I am going to take my clear Gorilla Glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit like that. Then I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to run a bead right down the middle because, you know, it's that instant gratification thing. We want it to be done fast. And then I'm going to lay this down almost to the very, very edge, just like that. And I'm leaving a little space on purpose, just a little one. So I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do the other end just the same way. And I think I'm going to put one down the middle too, just because these kind of want to buckle and bend a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing with another 4 pieces. So I have my 2 side pieces, and I'm going to set them up here. And then I'm going to make my end pieces. Now, so 4 more. there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing in a smaller version, and I'll be right back. So I have my sides, I have my two ends, and now I'm going to try to put them together. So I left all of my, my joiner pieces in from the edge a little wee bit. And I'm hoping that because I did that, that I can glue these together, and these will help reinforce the corners a little wee bit. So because I want the end pieces to be on the outside, by the outside I mean when I put the long end, I want the end pieces to go out like this, if you can see that. So I'm going to put this on here as opposed to putting this on here, like that. So I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to put some hot glue right along this edge. I need another glue stick. There. So some hot glue right along this edge. And I'm going to use a fair amount, because if it comes out a little bit, I'll just wipe it off. So then I'm going to put this down and then slide this into it, just like that. And then I'm going to hold it for a minute. And then I'm going to take my hot glue, and I am going to reinforce right down through here with the hot glue. And this will be on the inside of the piece, so I don't think it'll show too much. There. And then I'm going to turn it around. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other end. I am going to put the hot glue here and then slide it onto the other piece. Does anybody else have to push the glue stick down with their mouth? I mean, trying not to get too much, but I'm trying to get enough at the same time. So this down and then this into it. Make a nice tight join. So I was just guessing. So I've got a little bit of leakage here, so I'm going to push that in again and hold it for a minute. I put a plastic sheet down on my table before I started because I kind of knew that this would happen. So I'm kind of reinforcing these corners the same way you would put silicone around the edge of a bathtub or something. And just putting that bead in there. And I'm going to let, oh, so you need to let that dry. I'm going to hold this up with my, there. I'm going to hold that up with the paint bottle while it dries for just a second. So that's holding now. I just had to hold it for a couple of seconds until that starts to cool down, and then it kind of makes a bond. So then I'm going to do the same thing to add my side pieces on here. I'm going to lift this up a little bit, and I'm going to put my bead of glue along here, just like that. And then I'm going to stand this up and put this right there and hold it tight. And you have to hold it. I mean, even though it's hot glue, and I'm using my Sure Bonder glue gun and the Sure Bonder glue sticks. These work. These are really good. These are kind of like the Gorilla Glue sticks. I had to order them online. I got them when I got my glue gun. But, so this end here, I am just going to let this fall down inside a little bit so that I can get to this edge right here. And I'm putting a nice bead. I want enough to make it stick. And then I'm gonna pull this out and set it on that little piece and then squeeze. And there's a little bit leaking out, just a little bit. I'm just going to use this to kind of wipe that off and flatten it out a bit. And then straighten these edges up. I want these edges flush. There. So there is my crate, but it doesn't have a bottom. So I need to turn it over like this. I want this crate to last. So what I'm going to do is put, I'm going to try to measure it this way. I'm going to put some cross pieces. Well, I'm going to put the cross pieces lengthwise, I think. So I'm just going to cut off this end. I got my scissors tangled up in my, so I'm going to cut off this end so that I can put this, I'm going to tip it like this because I think you can see, and then I am going to glue this. I need a little bit more off. Directly with the bottom, and a little bit more off. So hot glue, and hot glue to hold this. And line it up directly with the bottom. There. Then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. I am using, it seems like I'm using a lot of these sticks. This crate's going to end up costing me about $4 after I'm done the whole thing. Let me see, no, I used one. I only had 4 in the other package. 5, 6, yeah, about 2 packages. So it's costing me about $2.50 to actually make the crate. So I am going to use this over and over and over. There. Okay, so some hot glue. Some Gorilla Glue. And then put it on there. It's only glued in 3 places, so it has to be good and sturdy. So I'll put this in here, and using my thumbs, I'm just putting them against my thumbs to line it up perfectly with the bottom so that they'll both be the same height. And then when I turn it over, I have this ridge here. Now I can cut my bottom and put it in there. So I don't know whether I'm going to, I'm not going to put a solid bottom in. I don't need a solid bottom, but I need 1, 2, maybe 6 slats going across. Let's see. I'll need, and this is how I measure. I'll need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, 7. So I'm going to do 7 across the bottom. And this is how I'm going to do it. And it's not going to take much to hold this in the bottom. So I'm going to measure my distance across. First one is going to measure here. So I'm going to measure this distance across. And then I'm going to take off 2 of those. So I'm going to cut 3 pieces of this width, which is, or this length, which is 5 inches. So I'm going to cut a 5-inch piece and see what happens, and see if that's the right distance for me for this. And the reason I'm measuring that, the other ones will be a little bit longer, but these ones are going to go right where these middle pieces are. That's a little bit too long because it's bowing out my box and making the sides round. So I'm just going to trim another hair off of that and see if it fits better. Much better. It's keeping my crate nice and straight. So that one, so 3 that size. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to put these on that across the bottom and glue them all in, and I'll be back when I'm done that. So I have the bottom glued in, and it's raised up from the bottom, but because I did that, this is really sturdy. So I'm going to paint this, and I'm going to paint it, I'm just going to use, I had an old paint can. I emptied a nice big, you know, the 4-ounce. This is like a 6-ounce paint can, but I emptied a 4-ounce can, or Deco Art white paint in here, and added a little water, some plaster of Paris, and made my own white chalk paint, because I don't want to use my expensive chalk paint for crafting projects. Like, it's too expensive. And I really want to keep it for my furniture projects and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this white. My brushes are right here. Let me see what I'll use. I'll probably just use this paintbrush, and that might be too big. I'll probably just use this one. This is a good one. So I'll paint this white, and I shall be back again. So at this point, I've got my crate painted, and I started using my homemade chalk paint and realized that I'd grabbed the can that was an experiment. So this isn't quite dry yet, but I had found a recipe online somewhere that said that you can mix baking soda with your paint, and it will create a type of chalky paint with a different finish. So I did that, and it's been sitting in that can for probably a month and a half now, because I'd completely forgot that I'd done it. So I painted it, and it has this You can hear that. It's not smooth. It has this grainy finish with lots of texture, and the brush marks show like a nice chalk paint does. You have to water your chalk paint down if you don't want your brush strokes to show. But anyway, I'm waiting for this to dry before I can put the finishing touches on it. And I'll show you what I wanted to do with that lemon napkin. So I took a couple more of the garden stakes and I made this sign out of it. It's just one stake with 4 cross pieces, kind of like on there like a shiplap. And that's what this crate looks like too. It's because it's got no breaks in it. And I have, excuse me here, reaching across, I have this napkin and I've pulled the backing off of it, and I want it to go on here. So I painted this with just a drop of white acrylic paint. That's outdoor acrylic paint, but I guess it doesn't matter. I didn't even look at it when I was grabbing it. So I'm going to cut this napkin out and I'm going to Mod Podge it onto the front of here. I'm not going to do that on camera. So because the way that I Mod Podge, I don't put the Mod Podge down first when I'm doing a napkin. I put it through the napkin so the whole thing sticks. So that's on there. I'm just going to trim the excess off, Mod Podge this down, and if you'd like to see how I Mod Podge napkins, I can leave a link and it'll take you to one of the videos where I've Mod Podged napkins on something. So I'll be right back when this is done and show you how I'm going to finish the crate up and put it all together. My sign is drying and I am going to put the finishing touches on this crate. I want this crate to be very farmhouse looking. For the top of this, I do think that I'll use the nautical rope just because it's a little bit thicker. So I am going to go all the way around. I'm going to stick this down as well as I can right on top without completely burning myself. But I want it to be right on top. I want it to edge this just like that. And I'm just going to keep going along here like this. And then I'll put this down. So I'm just putting the finishing touches on. I've got my rope around the top. I just free-handed, because it's got lines on it, because it's slats, I just free-handed Farm Fresh on the side. And now I'm just going through with, I've got some spun gold and some white acrylic paint. And what I'm doing is kind of mixing the two and just going like this, getting it on my brush, and then at the side here I'm just working it into my brush really, really good so that it's not all globbed on the end. And then I'm going from the corners and I am just lightly brushing from the corner in. And it's better to not have enough paint on your brush than it is to have too much. So just go like that and see how it's perfect. It's just perfect. I love this spun gold. I got it at, I'm sure I got it at Dollar Tree. And it's just the Crafters Acrylic spun gold. So when I get down to where I don't have much paint left on my brush, I kind of hold my bristles together so that I can concentrate it just a little bit more. So I'm loving the way it's looking going down the sides from the corners. I'm going to finish the other 2 corners. Just a little bit down through the middle. I don't think I need much. I'm kind of just trying to give this like a, you know, like if I was at a farm market and this was a big crate full of vegetables or something like that. Just a big homemade, well-built crate to ship things. Yeah, that looks good. That looks really good. I'm loving that. I'm loving the spun gold with just that hint of color. There, a little bit across to make it look old and worn, and I think I'm done. I think that's it. So I'm going to fill this up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Just set it on my stove right now to let you, I just want you to see how cute, how absolutely cute this turned out. I love that wooden crate. Just because it doesn't have open slats doesn't mean it's a crate. And this is so durable. Like, this is so sturdy that I almost feel like I could put it on the floor and stand on it. Yeah, so I'm not gonna, but anyway, I just put it on my stove. Let me turn the light on so you can get a good, see how nice and bright and shiny this is gonna be. This sign turned out so cute. I'm even loving the wrinkles. It hasn't dried yet, so some of those will go away. And yeah, I just kind of slapped that napkin on there and threw the Mod Podge on really quick. I have this pretty lemon dish towel that I got from Marshall's as a set of 4, and they're pretty. And yeah, so this is going to look fabulous on my coffee bar reveal when I get it done, but I have a lot of work still to do, so I am going to let you go. And have a great day, everybody. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.